As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Play a full 60 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it simple.
Get pucks deep, bring the puck deep.
Put pucks in deep.
We got to keep it simple and just get pucks going forward.
Getting into the forecheck.
We got to keep playing aggressive.
Trying to take away their time and space.
We're focused on tonight. We just got to stick to our game.
Joining us from the car on his way up to Boston, a guy that should be feared this weekend on the ball hockey courts. Bleacher Report content creator and daily face-off host of Morning Cup of Coffee, Jonny Lazarus. Jonny, thanks for hopping on here. How's it going?
Yeah, no problem. Sorry if my service is in and out, but as you just let everybody know, I'm in the car. So, yeah, happy to join you guys and appreciate it. And happy hockey season's back.
It's coming quickly. We're getting ready down here in Greensboro. You're going to be playing with a couple of our owners, which is an exciting thing down here with the Barstool affiliation, and big weekend for them as well, as you're heading up to Chicklets Cup, going to be playing there and defending your title. What's kind of the most exciting piece about that? You've been a part of a couple of those tournaments.
Yeah, this is my third one. My first year I played like roller A and roller B because some buddies I knew from Long Island needed a guy, so I hopped on two teams, which was cool. But 3 for 3 so far. I've won 2 roller A trophies, won a roller B trophy. Back in roller A with Team CCM, my buddy Lucas Georges, who works for CCM, puts together a team that's represented by Team CCM. So it's sick. We get free gear. They really hook us up nicely at CCM. And last year we got Grinnell on our team, which is cool, obviously, because he's a good buddy of mine. And hopefully I think he's running it back with us this year. But yeah, I'm excited. It's always a fun weekend, hanging out with all the guys. Seeing Whit, Biz, Colby, Merles. I don't think Jans has been there before. I think this is Jans' first one, so it'll be cool to see him. But it's a really cool communal feel to it. Buffalo, everyone kind of spends the 2 days around the rinks, getting to know each other, having some drinks, hanging out. And then last year in London, it was in the middle of the city. So all these people came and watched, and it was just super cool, rollerblading through the town. It's kind of indescribable, honestly, how they do it. It's just an awesome event. Excited to have it in Boston because Boston's obviously a huge hockey city too. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out throughout the weekend. And yeah, it'll be a good time and a good show, hopefully. And I can bet there'll be a lot of good content that comes from it. So excited to see how they recap it after.
Well, you're heading right within our episode topic here in the Atlantic Division and going up to Boston. So I guess a good spot to start is the team that finished last year. The Boston Bruins have to turn it around here, heading into a rebuild and maybe going for the McKenna sweepstakes next year. There's been all kinds of rumors around Kirill Kaprizov. That would probably be a reason to keep Pastrnak around, but you wonder how long he stays. Where do you see the Bruins going from here? Because this year is probably not going to be much better than last year, but how long is that turnaround? Do you think Kaprizov could be a piece they add to try to turn it around a little quicker?
I honestly haven't seen the Kaprizov rumors. So is that as of today? When did that happen?
That was on the initial list of when they kind of put out the Vegas odds of teams he might go to. They were the top 3 talked about. Okay.
For Boston, I think, I have them coming in 8th again this year. I think their blue line's fine. Their goaltending's obviously solid with Jeremy Swayman, even though last year was a down year for him. But I just don't know where their goals are going to come from. Their power play, off the top of my head, I think was 29th last year, 15% or something like that. And I could see them, finishing around the same. Their first unit's probably McAvoy, Lindholm, Pastrnak, Middlestat, and I don't even know who the 5th person would be. Kind of just thinking about their roster. You guys might have it in front of you. But again, after Pasta, Geeky probably is the 5th. I don't know if Geeky can sustain what he did last year, having 30-something goals, but there's a huge drop-off offensively after David Pastrnak. And, you look at their bottom 6, it's honestly a lot of unrecognizable players, and that's no disrespect to those guys, but, Boston's been one of those teams the last 15 years that's been, talked about as a Stanley Cup contender every single year. And then last year was the first year where things really just went poorly. And I don't see it getting any better this year. And I think, honestly, Casey, in regards to the McKenna sweepstakes, they may as well just embrace the suck for 1 year. You're not going to accomplish anything by making the playoffs. You're not a team that's going to win the Stanley Cup or win a round. you may as well just sacrifice it this year. And I know it's hard to tell guys like Pasternak, McAvoy, and Swayman, but they have, guys locked up for long term. They have McAvoy, Zadorov, Lindholm on the back end who have signed, pretty long term deals. You got Pasta locked in. Like, just be bad for 1 year, get some good younger talent in the draft, then go from there. Like, try to speed up this rebuild a little bit, as opposed to, hanging on to your pride and trying to be competitive. So for me, it's going to be a very, very bizarre year in Boston, and I just don't see them finishing above seventh. Maybe they'll be ahead of the Sabres, but if you're asking me where they're going to finish, I think it's eighth place.
Yeah, and Jonny talking about that Boston team from last year as well, and a big piece that got moved at the deadline in Brad Marchand, and going over to the Florida Panthers, kind of flipping the script from 8-1. And my biggest question is, can anyone catch the Panthers this year? I mean, again, three consecutive
regular season or postseason?
Honestly, both, because you got 3 consecutive short summers, you got 2 back-to-back cup wins. Like, can anyone catch them in the regular season or in the playoffs?
Well, the playoffs are a different story. I mean, Florida is a team to me where, I think they finished like third last year in the Atlantic. They've shown like you get in, you're fine. I think Barkov went down this morning too, or yesterday. I saw he was hurt. I don't know what the time frame's looking like with that, but obviously if they're missing Barkov and Kachuk to start the year, like, it's not a good sign. For Florida, I don't put a lot of stock into the regular season for them. They're a team to me that knows how to flip the switch and when to flip it. Honestly, I did my Atlantic predictions like yesterday, like notes-wise. We haven't done our show on it yet. And I put Florida fourth. Like, I think they'll be a wild card team, but it's not because of, their ability or what they're capable of. To me, it's just like the adversity they'll face dealing with injuries and dealing with the short summers, like you mentioned, Jake. Like, it's only human nature for guys to get tired. And again, I'm not doubting them. Like, I would still pick Florida to win the cup. Like, I think they have a very good chance at three-peating. But I'm just not putting a lot of stock into the regular season. Because, like, as long as they're in a playoff spot, I think they're fine. And I don't think they're going to, like, sacrifice anyone's, health or whatever to get a second or first spot in the Atlantic. I think they're pretty much at the understanding of, like, hey, if we get into the playoffs, we're a fucking tough team to beat.
Definitely. And I agree. I mean, just the get in. And I think with the next team we're going to talk about with Toronto, I think that's another thing for them is they've been getting into the playoffs so consistently over the last couple of years. And then you get the first round exits to the Bruins. And then last year you get another playoff exit early. So with Toronto, with the whole Mitch Marner situation, who do you see stepping up for them? I mean, we've heard Matthias Michelli as an option. I think he's kind of a good sleeper pick for me for someone who can break out on that top 6. Is there anybody else in that roster you see kind of stepping up and taking that point production?
I'm really curious to see what happens with Easton Cowan. Obviously a big London Knights prospect that Toronto fans have been excited about for quite some time. Like, he should make that team out of camp. Michelli obviously is like one of those guys who will probably fill in the top 6 somewhere. I would think their lines right now are probably like Nyes, Matthews, Michelli, and then McMahon, Tavares, and Nylander. If you look at the top 6 on Daily Faceoff, that's probably like what it says. But I would probably bump McMahon down to like the third line and put Easton Cowan up there in the top 6. Like, Cowan's a skilled guy that, obviously hasn't shown anything in the NHL yet because he hasn't played, but he's a guy who will thrive playing with top end talent like Tavares and Nylander or Matthews and Nyes. So I would think that's where he'll fall. And obviously, replacing 100 points from Mitch Marner this year is not something that's easy to do. But that said, like, I do like Toronto's blue line. I think Stolarz is a hell of a goalie who's in a contract year, and this is probably like a big contract for him. He's 31 years old, and this is probably his last chance to sign like that 4 or 5 year big ticket for a goalie. So I think Stolarz is a guy who could potentially be in a Vezina conversation depending on how healthy he remains. I think if he's healthy in that Florida series, it's probably a different story, and that's no discredit to Joseph Wall, but like, Stolarz was the guy. So we'll see. I don't think, again, I'm not like one of those guys who's like Toronto's doomed without Marner and they're going to regret, losing him and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it sucks. It's a hole to fill, but I do think it's a very well-rounded team.
The Sens and the Canadians made huge boosts last year. Maybe two teams that could go either way on continuing that progress with young rosters and continuing to add, but also potentially with regression. Do you see either of those teams struggling coming up this year and maybe being prone for a little bit of regression from the success they had last year? Or do you think both teams kind of have the same path, maybe get a little better and towards the playoffs?
I think Montreal gets better. I think Ottawa stays about the same. For me, I just think, Montreal is going to be one of the most fun teams to watch. Just the offensive flair that they have, like it's kind of basic to say, but like there's just so many exciting young players there. And I will if they don't finish in the top 3 or top 5 in power play percentage, that's a huge failure. Their top unit is probably Hudson, Demidov, Caulfield, Laine, Suzuki. Maybe Slavkovsky replaces Laine or something, or I don't know. But Laine was one of the better power play guys in the league last year once he joined the Canadians. But they're just loaded up front. Obviously, adding Dobson's huge. Montembeault has shown pretty strong runs. He had a great start to the year last year, and fell off a little bit, I feel like, but remained mostly consistent throughout the entire season. And again, like great coaching of Marty St. Louis, obviously a great fan base. I think Montreal finishes third. I think they're going to have a great regular season. I think Zach Bolduc is a sneaky pickup. Like I didn't really know who he was, to be honest. And then the Blues came in and played the Rangers last year. He put up 2 goals, and I was like, holy shit, this kid could fly. Like he's sick. And I watched a lot of him, from there on. I think he had close to like 40 points, maybe even a little bit more in his rookie year. Like, you put him with, I don't know what his line would be, maybe with like Evans and Laine maybe or something, or Demidov, and he'll produce. So I think Bolduc is like a guy who will be like one of those breakout candidates who gets like 60 points. And Montreal is they're just gonna be so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that team is definitely something to look at there. And we've kind of mentioned throughout the episode here of a bunch of rookies that are coming in. I mean, mentioned Demidov for Montreal, Cowan for Toronto. You've also got James Higgins coming up in Boston. Is there anybody in the rookie ranks in this division that you feel like is going to make a big impact, or who do you think is going to have the biggest impact on their team?
Well, Higgins is going back to school. He won't be on Boston this year.
Yeah.
But as far as other rookies go in the Atlantic, no one off the top of my head other than those two.
Also had Jacob Fowler as well.
Yeah, Fowler. If Fowler can get I don't know if he'll get Montembeault's job, but like he's a stud. He really is. And then Fraser Minton maybe in Boston. He's a guy I think a lot of Bruins fans are excited about. But I didn't really touch on Ottawa. Like one of my hotter takes, I think, for the NHL this year is Drake Batherson scoring 40 goals. Like I'm a big fan of Batherson's game. He's got a fucking good job. Scores in the dirty areas too. Like he's really good around the net. He plays first line, first power play. I think he's put up 8 and 26 in his last 2 years. He trains in the summer with Sid and Nate Marchand. Like he's a guy who's like really dialed. He's a big, strong dude too. And, Ottawa, again, like they're a team that has so much talent, top 6, like Batherson, Giroux, Stützle, Tkachuk, Dylan Cousins now you add to the mix. Shane Pinto, I think, will be more of a defensive, lockdown type of forward. That's how he played in that first round series against Toronto. Like he really was like locked in on Matthews, it felt like. Getting Ullmark fully healthy will obviously really help because he was out for a lot of the year last year. And then Jake Sanderson is a guy who, again, like everyone's going to watch for after – what felt like a breakout season for him last year, and Shabbat had a really good year as well. So, again, Ottawa's a really good, well-rounded team, and they've got a little FU to their game too. Like they're going to be fun as well, just a different kind of fun. They're more like heavy skill than Montreal is. Montreal is just like pure talent.
Brought up Buffalo as maybe a team to finish behind Boston. And it seems never ending when Buffalo's trying to chase the playoffs and get any better. Detroit's a little bit closer, but in a bit of the same boat, and the pressure really building on both of those front offices. how much longer for each of those teams? And it sounds like for you, it's definitely not Buffalo this year.
No, I mean, I think Buffalo could finish ahead of Detroit. I'm so low on Detroit, it's insane. I think their blue line is very weak. Like I'm giving Buffalo's top 4D are like nasty, but they're still just trying to figure it all out. I mean, Dahlin, Power, Kessler Ring now you add to the mix, Bowen Byram. Like that's a pretty solid top four. Yeah, granted those guys aren't like necessarily the biggest, most physical guys, but as far as skating and skill goes, like pretty damn good. I mean, Kessler Ring's obviously a bigger one, but I think Buffalo is more well-rounded than Detroit. Like Detroit's top six is obviously nasty, but their blue line to me is so weak, and then you never know what you're going to get from John Gibson. Obviously, it's a change of scenery for him, but I'm not going to put all my stock into John Gibson like necessarily being the best goalie in the world. So and again, I'm not trying to like discredit him by any means, but just seems like a question mark in net for Detroit. And UPL obviously is a guy who's like around the same. He's like. He keeps Buffalo competitive, like the guy battles his ass off. Does he put up the best numbers? No, but he's never really been on a great team, so it's hard to blame him. But then again, you have guys like Jack Quinn up front who, is due for a breakout year. Like I think he hasn't even hit the 40-point mark yet, and he's like a top 10 pick in the NHL. So he's a guy who has spent like 2 or 3 years in the league, has had some, transitioning or transforming or adjustments that needed to be made, but this is that year where Jack Quinn has to take that next step. And obviously we know what we're going to get from like Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, and those guys. But the Jack Quinns and maybe even Zach Benson and if Josh Norris can stay healthy too, like Buffalo, they could finish sixth. I don't think they'll finish in the top 5, but Detroit, to me, their blue line is just going to hold them back.
Is it a 5-team Atlantic playoff again?
Yep, for sure. 1,000%.
And Chicklets Cup this week. We'll close it off and let you keep driving here. How many goals anticipated for Jonny Lazarus as we get ready for the
pass first guy. Pass first guy. But when the cameras are out, I'm definitely a little bit more selfish. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays because like I don't know what the rink looks like yet. Last year it was kind of like in almost in like a park, and the rink was like very narrow. And it's 3-on-3, so it's kind of like it could be like games like 11-9, like could be very high scoring. I'll set my over under it. We're guaranteed 3 games, so I'll say 7.5.
Yeah.
How different is it the transition from ice to roller? Were you a roller guy?
I play a lot of roller now. Yeah, I played both. I mean, I was mainly ice growing up. Like I started as a roller guy. And then I, became fully ice. Then as I got older, I like went back to roller a little bit because roller is like to me way more fun. Like in this part of life, it's just like super chill and all skill and like guys like kind of know how to play it. Where ice, like guys just like whack the puck and people, it's just like a little bit of a different speed. But transitioning from ice to roller is way easier than roller to ice. Because the pace of play in roller is so much slower and so different. Where ice is kind of like go, go, go. And roller is like take it back, set up, stay on your man. It's a much different game, but both are so fun. So it should be a great weekend.
Well, we're wishing you the best of luck. The Florida Panthers of roller hockey. Jake, go ahead there before we close it off.
I was going to say maybe we'll see it down near Columbus in Nasher's new place down in.
I would love to check it out there. Yeah, it looks sick. He's a great guy. I love Nasher. And the Columbus, the Heat Wave Arena looks unreal. Sorry.
Go Gargoyles. Let them know up in Boston and wishing you the best of luck. The dynasty hopefully can continue. Looking forward to seeing all the clips come out of it.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you guys.